Hello, everyone. Hope all of you are doing fine. This is Jatin from Testing Gyan, and we are back with another podcast. And this time, we are deep diving into the world of Salesforce Commerce Cloud. So let's hear it from our expert guest, Oleg.
So, Oleg, please introduce yourself to our audience.
Hi everyone, my name is Oleg Sapishchuk. I am Senior Technical Architect at Salesforce. I work in professional services for Commerce Cloud domain. So Commerce Cloud is a big umbrella of different products, and I'm an expert there. I have plus 10 years in the industry of experience, and I'm passionate about commerce, not just e-commerce, not just IT, but in general commerce business. And that's why I usually say I don't work. I actually do my hobby, and people just pay me money for that.
Thank you, Oleg. It's a very impressive introduction. So, Oleg, the first question is what distinguishes B2C commerce in Salesforce and how does it cater to the needs of businesses just entering the e-commerce space?
Amazing question. And you know what's funny? That just yesterday I was looking at LinkedIn and I forgot the name of the guy, but he shared a nice picture that says, oh, when they talk about this, it's B2C. When they talk about this is B2B. And there is a common issue in the domain, and which is partially caused by us, by Salesforce, because we love rebranding and also originally the history is because of acquisitions, there are multiple names. There is B2C commerce, B2B commerce, B2B2C commerce, commerce on code, Demandware, cloud cries, what it is. So let me just explain to you, following the picture, so because I thought it genius. So what is originally B2C? B2C from the history was originally done for retailers for the high volume, high scale, amazing, the best in the industry performance. That was B2C commerce. Originally, the company was called Demandware and was acquired by Salesforce. What I want to highlight originally, because as of today, it's not just retail. Telcos, utilities, fins, automotive, all the industries, including healthcare, using B2C commerce as of today. And usually it's B2C, it's business to consumers. This is primarily designed where the end customers want to buy something from the business on those digital experiences. Now, B2B or D2C, originally the company that did this was called CloudCraze. So they built on top of Salesforce their solution. And that was a B2B. So what stands for business to business. It's where one business wants to solve for another business. And you can hear different names like Commerce on Core. And the reason is because that solution was built on the Lightning platform on Core, on the Salesforce CRM, right? So Demandware and CloudCraze, behind this is totally two different technologies. Although B2C commerce, Salesforce B2C commerce is part of Salesforce, never mix that it's built on core Lightning platform. It's not. It's built on totally different technology, which actually enable it and allows it to be so high scale, so performance and the best in class in the industry.
Thanks, Oleg, for lovely introduction about B2C commerce and giving our users insight about B2C commerce solutions. So, since most of our audience is from testing domain, so my next question is, from a testing perspective, what are common challenges you have observed in implementing B2C commerce solution, and how can testers address them effectively?
That's an amazing question, which I think spans throughout multiple domains. And the first thing that could help audience is to understand if you're going to do the quality assurance using B2C commerce, you need to understand commerce. Forget about B2C commerce. You need to understand the commerce and the industry. You need to understand the common journeys, right? You need to understand you have to put yourself in the shoes of the shopper. So the shopper may have an account, my account, my order history, and different aspects of me as identity who I'm interacting with the brand. You need to understand that there are products that there is search. You can search for products. Products are public. The prices are public, but they sometimes not the same price. that there are different tiers of the customers. It could be loyal customers, or maybe from different countries, they may have different prices. So you need to understand how the business works, and that it's not only ends with showing the products, but also the buying journey. And depends with which industry you work, the buying journey could be very different. In retail, it's simple. You put products into the cart, you fill out your shipping, billing details, fill out the payments, done, order is done. That's not the same in the communications. In telecom, usually you are required to provide your ID details, to provide your address. There should be some credit check done in the background. So the journey itself will be also different. And what also means that complexity of the quality assurance that you may have to perform on B2C commerce will totally vary of the industry, size of your customers, how complex are their business rules, how complex is their integrations, architecture, how many dependencies. But if we think about the retail, which I believe is sometimes, like on average, is pretty simple. The most common that you would have as part of the quality assurance integrations is rating and reviews, right? So as a QA, you may want to go to the B2C commerce, to your front end, try to put yourself in the shoes of the shopper, put the review, and then you have to validate it. And usually it will be another system that you'll have to log in, go there and validate if that review is there, right? So I would say the challenges are the different systems. It's not just B2C commerce based on the implementations. It's payments. So you have to go sometimes to the payment system to validate that. And that's when I'm talking about manual testing. But there is also automated testing. In B2C commerce, the common practice is that developers will do unit testing. So they will write unit tests. Usual technologies for that are Mocha, Sinon, and Chai. And then they sometimes could write integration testing or functional testing. But then when we go to the QA side, what I've seen quite often is that QAs use either Cucumber or any other frameworks to write UI, UX testing, right? So they want to automate the actual manual clicks they will put over there with some set of the data. And what I found, if you are QA and you know how to write those automation testing, you are great. It puts you much higher comparing to other QAs who just know manual testing. Why? Because you then provide much higher ROI, and ROI is return on investment, so much more value to the customers who wants to get the best out of the product, out of the release. You decreasing time to the release. So whenever something is released, you can run automation testing, you can validate that everything smoothly works and go quicker. So you shift left and you spend less time on the manual testing. So overall, just to summarize, the challenges is industries, because it's all the industries could use B2C commerce. Hence, architecture, different dependencies and complexities, different systems, data sets, different login screens that you have to do. The domain itself, the commerce that you need to understand. And then I would say it's like addition is automation testing, that when you write that, it may not only spam across B2C, but you may want to validate in the admin panel. So what's in B2C commerce called business manager, but also in other systems, if the data that was filled out by the shopper actually match what then merchandiser or admin of other system would see in the backend system as well.
Thank you, Oleg. These were some interesting and amazing insights from the testing perspective. I'm sure our QA community will love this. Could you share some real world examples or use cases where robust testing played a crucial role in the success of a B2C commerce project?
Sure. I actually have one story which I call the golden story. It's the customer I work with, which we built a practice in Asia. So originally they're a European brand, a beauty brand, and they expanded in Asia. And we had to build the solution B2C commerce for them. And there were pretty open for the innovation. So we applied a lot of what I would call DevOps best practices. And DevOps best practices also means a lot of QA best practices of shifting left. So what have been done that before we even start talking about requirements, our QA subject matter experts were part of the discovery. They were asking the question, evaluating, and helping to shape the requirements and what actually how everything will work. Because they understood the business needs and what has to be done, it was much easier for them to start writing the test cases, which they also start to automate. The UI was not done, nothing was done, but they already started to write the mock what actual test cases and automation will have to be done. And then they worked together with developers. So what was done, it was cooperative work. When developer was developing the feature, QA was working with him together to help with automation. And the feature was not done before. So feature was not called done if it didn't have QA automation. So it worked together, was automated. We worked in sprints. So it was agile development where we reviewed and demo. And an extra level of improvement was done is automation. So what we did when the feature was done and pull request was raised with all the required code bases, we were issuing B2C Commerce sandbox. So what is a sandbox? It's an environment, right? So you issue a temporary environment. We did the automation. So for each pull request, we would issue an empty sandbox, deploy all the metadata to that sandbox, which would make that sandbox a fully working website. And on that sandbox, tests that were written by QA would run all the functional, all the UX, right? So we at the time used Cucumber. So it was running all the tests, it validated everything working, pass, and then go to the SIT. What this allowed to do is to get to the zero bug release. We didn't have any major, neither minor. Our Jira was empty in terms of bugs. So when we went to the release, and it was achieved by this shifting QA to the left, where QA was from the beginning gathering the requirement. QA team had a deep knowledge and understanding of the business domain. Because of that, they understood what the business wants. So they understood what they have to validate. So they contributed to the user stories that we're reading, to the acceptance criteria. They then moved those acceptance criteria to the automation validation. And then this automation validation was iteratively running on every contribution to the shared code base. So that was not only the unit testing from developer that was running on the code, but from the UI perspective, they simulated all the clicks and all the expected behaviors, what the UI and UX should look like. So all the small bugs where something was not working or UI changed because of some SCSS changes was quickly captured. And this also allowed developers, before even writing the pull request, run that automation locally. They could get help from the QA and run it locally before even writing the pull request. So we spent less time on the pull request review. We spent less time on the QA. Customer was happier because you're doing the demo, you're showing that everything works. That with every new iteration, with every new sprint, there are not that many issues. And most of the issues that we found were actually not the issues, but the way how we gathered requirements. It was misunderstanding between what business actually wanted and what we understood and what we implemented. So the actual bugs were not that some screen or some flow or some API response is not working, but just human interaction that was misunderstood and then applied. It's just totally different mindset and type of work. And that's what I usually call the golden project that I had. And after that, I didn't have anyone who would get to the same maturity of the DevOps, where we would apply so much automation, where we would shift left, where we would apply all the best practices. Rest of the customer that I had to deal with usually had some pieces of or those best practices from the QA perspective. But when we start then to apply at least some of that, I see significant improvement. When some customer apply automation testing, boom, quality just go higher, decrease time to value. When we solve that sample data, how we provision the new testing data, and we automated it a bit, also go quicker. When we decrease number of environments, where we don't have to manage so many versions, also helps a lot, right? And I usually see when QA is involved in all the steps, in all the various phases of the project, as much more we shift in light quality assurance and those QA subject matter experts are there, the quality go higher. And last but not least, at that project, what we said, quality assurance is, and actually quality is not responsibility of QA. Quality is responsibility of everyone. And Yajitin, as you have on your t-shirt, the quality is everyone's responsibility. Yes, quality is everyone's responsibility. And that was the golden rule, that everyone is responsible for quality. And QA is a subject matter in quality who help to enable others and help to achieve the common quality in the projects.
Thanks, Oleg. I'm loving the insights you are sharing and how you are relating it to real life examples. So my next question is, for the beginners in testing domain, especially those venturing into B2C commerce testing, what skill and knowledge areas do you recommend they focus on to excel in this specialized field?
There are two types here, right? So for types of enablement, so let me start from the first one, the basic one. Forget about it's a B2C commerce. Forget for a second B2C commerce. How you would prepare yourself for the testing in general. You want to understand what type of testing are, penetration testing, load, performance, different type of testing. You want to understand what security testing, what are different threats, common practices. Just learn about quality assurance as a whole, generic. B2C commerce is a web-based solution. So the next level is you need to understand how web works, how request works, what the cookies, what are the sessions, how you would actually test the web application. That's the second thing that you have to do. And then when you enable yourself on general quality assurance principles, on web quality assurance principles, you go to B2C commerce. What will help you here is to understand, and once again, we divide into two, general e-commerce. What it is, put yourself in the shoes of a shopper. Go and buy. Try to explore, try to validate how it works, what are the journeys, functionalities, what user could click, because you as a quality assurance specialist, you will have to put yourself in the shoes of various people. You'll have to imagine that you're a 50 years old lady that's trying to buy the lipstick. You will put yourself as, a man in his 30s and he's trying to buy a present for his wife. You will have to put yourself in the shoes of, like myself, husband in a family, and I'm trying to buy the phones and mobile numbers and plans and internet for my full family, for my wife, for my kid, for everyone, right? So you will have to put yourself in different shoes. You need to understand what the shoppers would do or could do. You have to broaden your horizon. And then we go in the specialized enablement. And this is where the Trailhead will help you. So Trailhead in Salesforce is an amazing place for enablement. And for QAs, especially, because you don't actually need to know when you start QA activities at B2C commerce, how code is running, so on and so forth. You need functional understanding how the platform works, and Trailhead is the best place for this. So you go to the Trailhead, search by Commerce Cloud, B2C commerce products, and just go through there. Just understand on high level what it works. What means product set? What means product bundle? So there are two types of the products, the type of that. You go there, you want to understand how the CDN works, Or for example, what does it mean replication and caching? What is category? What is catalog, inventory, price books? So different concepts of the platform. Optionally, there is a Trailhead course. I think the code is CCM on 1 or something like that for the business manager, usually taken by administrators, but it's a very good one. If you don't have ability to pay for it, don't worry. Trailhead will be just good enough. Okay? And then practice. And gladly for you, if you go to the Google and type SFRA demo, the public storefront reference architecture site on B2C Commerce, which is usually a base instance from where the project starts, is public. You can go to that site. Go and try to do some quality assurance. The small hint for you, there are some bugs there, which you can find as an QA, right? You can find them. So that's how you can exercise. Another demo website is PWA Kit. So it's also public. You can go there and you also can validate that. You can also test. You can also see how it works, how different use cases are, right? And this will prepare very well you to work with the B2C commerce. What then you could do, or even before that, is in the past, not sure about how as of today, but some solution integrators had an internship programs, or they would have like academies where you could go to that academy, you learn, and then the best one would be chosen to stay and work in the company. So you could look after opportunities to do the QA academy or internship inside those companies. Or if you have a chance, you can look for the mentorship and just try to do something with experienced QA from some of the companies, then get recommendation and apply for the work to work in the B2C commerce space.
Amazing. And absolutely right, whatever you said, Oleg. And yeah, definitely trailheads add a lot of value when someone wants to learn. Thank you for all of these insights. Now let's move on to the last question. As the Salesforce ecosystem is dynamic and ever evolving, how do you stay updated on the latest developments, and what advice do you have for the users to keep pace with the changes in the B2C commerce and the Salesforce as a whole?
That's an amazing question. And I will tell you, this is usually the question that you would be asking in the interview. So usually if you go to the interview, doesn't matter if you're QA developer, one of the smart questions that usually interview ask, how were you asked? Okay, so I feel a bit we are doing the interview and I'm applying for the job. So what I would expect from any candidate who would reply to me, and what I usually follow myself and would recommend to others, is that build the network. Build the network, first of all, in the LinkedIn. Look for subject matter experts in your area. Follow them, connect, and usually they post something useful at LinkedIn. LinkedIn is your work social network. That's where you will get some of the first updates. Then what you do next, I also look some of those some people from that network, they also blogging. They doing the podcasts, they doing the vlogging, and I subscribe for those vlogs and blogs as well. So you go there, you subscribe, and you get some updates from their site as well. I also subscribe sometimes during the Substack for some articles in the domain and follow the company news. So there are company channels where also updates are posted over there. Release notes is great place where you can see where the products are moving, where they're updating. I'm not talking only about Salesforce release notes. I, for example, subscribe for the Docker release notes. I'm following other technologies or products. So, for example, I'm following very closely ChatGPT, OpenAI. I'm following closely what's happening in the Git space. So, for example, I love to use the Git Kraken. I follow in there. I see different domains, so different tools that are there. I subscribe and trying to learn what they're doing. And not sure if everyone do this as well, but I also subscribe for competitors. So I know who are competitors in the commerce space for the B2C commerce. So I follow top influencers in their domain, and that helps you to live outside of the bubble. Because if you just follow your own domain, you're building the bubble around yourself. I trying to destroy this bubble and live outside. So I follow and subscribe and see what's happening across the domain. What other products are doing? What interesting features they are releasing? What's happening over there? So magazines, articles, blog posts, influencers, podcasts, everything works. Now, practically, it's impossible, at least from my experience, to do all of that. So you will have your own style, what fits you. What fits me really well, a podcast, because when I'm driving and my son to school, from and to school, I turn on the podcast. I listen to them. It's just easy for me to digest the contents when I'm driving. I don't have much time during the day to read a lot of stuff, so I usually like the digest, or just feed into some GPT and say, give me the summary of some of the articles, just drop it there. Whatever is most interesting, then I read, right? So don't be that harsh on yourself to say, hey, I'm doing everything. If you have time to do that, that's great. I personally don't. But there are a lot of other different channels and sources where you can digest and consume all of this information. And all depends on you, on your own style and what fits you well.
Thank you, Oleg. Like all of these insights, this knowledge, I am sure this will be very helpful for our community. So thank you for this lovely and impressive knowledge which you have shared with us today. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for invite. I happy to share the knowledge, and if any question, just reach out.